I have brought a poem of Standard 9 from the book of Beehive, and the name of this poem is No Men Are Foreign. No Men Are Foreign. It is written by James Kirkup. James Kirkup. First of all, I want to tell you about the setting of the poem. You know the setting of the poem? Here this poem is set at the site of the stone wall between the farms of two hard-working men of New England, one of whom is the poet himself. There is speculation on how the said wall has come to be broken. There is the talk of rebuilding the wall as well. This is the setting of the poem. Now I will talk about the poem. As in this poem there are 20 lines. The first 4 lines means the first stanza I am reading. Remember, no men are strange, no country is foreign. Beneath all uniforms, a single body breathes like ours. The land our brothers walk upon is earth like this, in which we all shall lie. This is the first stanza of the poem, and as I told earlier, the poem consists of 20 lines in total. These lines are not divided into stanzas. However, they are divided into meaningful segments. It is not properly the stanza. The segment has been given here for the purpose of this summary in order to make the poem easier to understand and follow. This poem is written in the first person, hence we can assume that the speaker of the poem is the poet himself. In these lines that I read, the first one of these segments, in this poem means these lines, the poet tells his readers that men are not different from each other simply on the basis that they hail from separate countries. They may fight for the army of this nation or that one, but underneath the uniform, as I talk, beneath the same uniform, they are all essentially similar. Your appointment army soldiers live and breathe just as you do. Most fights between the men of one country and another result from disputes over which place of land belongs to which nation. However, all the land on earth is the same. Moreover, every man will have to lie in the earth at one time or the other. That is, all men have to die, and all pieces of land are potential graveyard. Means we have to go beneath the same land after the death. In that they can occasion a war for their occupations. Now next line, 5 to 8. They means the human beings, we all are. They too aware of sun, air and water are fed by peaceful harvest by war's long winter starved. Their hands are ours, and in their lines we read a labor not different from our own. Here in these lines, the poet provides further evidence of the unity of men. He says that those who hail from countries other than our own also depend, like we do, on sun and air and water for their survival. They too have seen periods of peace and periods of war. In times of peace, they have had the assurance. What? Assurance of square meal every day. Just like us, not the differences is found. Again, just like us, war has been a long winter to them, when food is scarce and every moment brings with the dread of an approaching famine. They look just like us and are descended from the same ancestors as we are. Our forefathers, they are called the ancestors. Right? Now I am reading the next line from line 9 to 12. Remember, they have eyes like ours that wake or sleep, and strength that we can be won by love. In every land is common life that all can recognize and understand. What is about? Very important thing in these lines. In this stanza, the poet entreats his readers to keep in mind that fact that our opponents sleep and wake just like we do and follow the same pattern in life as us. Every human being has an inner resource of strength that they can use to help their fellow things. However, that resource can only be unlocked by following the path of love. Only when we love someone can we stand up for them. That is why it is absolute necessary for everyone to love his fellow beings without creating divisions amongst them. Must remember it. Despite the differences between various nations, we have so many nations are there, but not to make any differences. There is one thing that they all have in common. The common people live the same kind of life everywhere. Our lives are not different. We have the same life. Therefore, you can recognize the presence of that life no matter where you travel in this wide world. This world is so wide. Now line 13 to 15 I am reading. Let us remember, whenever we are told to hate our brothers, it is ourselves that we shall dispossess, betray or condemn. Here condemn betray, dispossesses. These words are used by the poet. In this stanza, the poet protests against the efforts of military and religions group that encourage us to wage war against those of other persuasions. The poet believes that those groups are misguiding their followers. They are asking their followers to hate people without realizing that it is our own brother that we must hate. This is a form of self-destruction for the poet. Any one of the hatred that we may harbor for any member, of the human race is tantamount our betrayal towards the species and our condemnations of its future. If we kill people of any other nations, we are in fact endangering the human species as a whole and its survival on earth. So important thing it is. Now lines 16 and 17. Remember, we who take gun against each other, it is the human earth that we defy. In this stanza, 16 to 17, the lines in which the poet provides further implications of war. He says that if we, the guardians of the earth, were to die out as a result of the war, then there would no one left to take care of the home that our ancestors has passed down to us. We have everything which was given by our ancestors. We would then have nothing to pass down to our own future generation. So remember, don't destroy the things which you have acquired from our ancestors. Keep it safe, don't destroy it, because we have to pass to our next generations. Now line 18 to 20. Our hells of fire and dust outrace the innocence. Our air that is everywhere our own. Remember, no men are foreign and no country's strength. Very important thing it is. In this stanza, the poet compares wartime with hell. In war, as in hell, there is fire and smoke everywhere. As a result of this, the earth is becoming poisoned. The very air that we breathe is becoming impure and will not be able to sustain human life for much longer. That is why the poet encourages us not to wage war on our fellow men, thinking they are foreigners and that their countries are unlike our own. So remember it. Now, the central idea of this poem is the poet believes that war is caused by the false belief of people who have ceased to believe in the essential unity of man. These are xenophobes who believe that a man hailing from a different country is to be hated and discriminated against. However, the poet assures his readers that man is just the same everywhere. He experiences the same joy and sorrow and has been descended from the same ancestors. Therefore, he is justified in asking his readers to do away with xenophobia and expel it from their minds and hearts. Right? This is the central idea. Now, see the conclusion. If readers are willing to read between the lines of No Men Are Foreign, they will see that the poet is not just teaching us a lesson or warning us about our endangered future. He is also showing us the country picture and giving us a message of encouragement. He is showing what an easy solution that is to our problem. We must learn simply not to hate, and then our world will be a better place. So that I feel myself, this poem is the better source of making the brotherhood among ourselves, and it will reduce the war and disputes. So hope this would be better for you. Thank you.